Well, hello everybody, Jamie the Board Game Man. In today's episode, we are going vintage. This game was made back in 1973 by Milton Bradley. It's a 2 to 4 player game. It is called Snoopy, Come Home. In this game, Lila, who was a girl that owned Snoopy before Charlie Brown took him, is in the hospital. And she really requested she would love to see Snoopy come by and visit her while she's not feeling well. Well, he decides, okay, yeah, I'll come down to the hospital. So Snoopy goes to the hospital. She decides, I really want you to stay with me. Well, Snoopy at first kind of agrees, but then he goes to her apartment and finds out she has a cat. And you know how Snoopy feels about cats. So now he wants to come home. So all of us are trying to get down to Lila's apartment, get a hold of Snoopy, and then bring him back to the doghouse. But the thing is, every player is trying to do this because that's how you win the game. You bring Snoopy back to his doghouse. But there's two parts of the game. First part is getting to Lila's apartment to get him out of the apartment. And the second part is an all-out battle. Who's going to bring Snoopy back to his doghouse? So let's head on over to the gamer's table where I'm going to show you how to play Snoopy, Come Home. Alright everybody, here we are at the gaming table with Snoopy Come Home. Alright. So like I said, it's a 2 to 4 player game. The object of the game is, like I said in the intro, you are trying to save Snoopy, or sort of save him, take him from Lila's apartment and bring him back to his doghouse. So let's go ahead and go over the components of the game. You have the board. You're going to have a set of yellow cards. You also have 4 different players here. You got Lucy, Charlie Brown, Peppermint Patty, and Linus. You also will have the same characters, but with Snoopy. We have 4 of them on here. You also have a No Dogs Allowed sign, and of course you have a little Snoopy. And you also have 1 die, the old-fashioned red die with the gold pips. Gotta love that. And that's the components of the game. Let's go ahead and do the setup here. There is 2 different parts of the game. Part 1 is trying to get to Snoopy to get him from Lila's apartment. Then part 2 kicks in. But let's go ahead and go over part 1 real quick. Snoopy's going to go ahead and be placed at Lila's apartment. How you get Snoopy is you come in through the back door to get him. So you have to come over here, either one of these 2 spaces, and that's when it allows you to take Snoopy out of the apartment. All the beginning players, let's just say we have we'll do a 3-player here. We'll put Lucy out there, got to put Charlie Brown out there, and let's put Linus out there. So sorry, Peppermint Patty, you're not going to be included in this little introduction here. So we're going to place her right in there. All right. The cards are not used in part 1, so you're going to leave those over there. Those go into effect when part 2 come into play. These you keep off to the side. Let's go ahead and take Peppermint Patty out of there because she's not going to be a part of the game as well. And what happens with these is once you capture Snoopy, then to say Lucy captures Snoopy, then you would go ahead and take the Lucy out and put this one in, and that way it shows that you are with him. So that's kind of cool, huh? Excuse me. So that's how that works. Okay. So let's go ahead and put these. You're going to start in the doghouse, and of course it shows you the arrow here. This is where you begin, and you have to follow the arrows. You'll see the arrows along the way here. In part 1, you must follow the arrows, okay? Everyone's going to roll the die. Obviously, whoever rolls highest gets to go first. If you land on one of these telephones, by exact count, obviously, then it's almost like kind of like a shortcut. You can actually take it like so, and that way it keeps you from having to go all the way around this way. It actually saves you in these telephones. It does take you in to almost like an internal row. So you say from here, it takes you to the next row in. And then from here, it takes you to the next row in. So it does save you a lot instead of having to go all the way around the board to make your way in. So if you're lucky enough to land on one of these, that is great. So pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to roll, you're going to roll, you're going to roll. You're going to try to, obviously you're making your way around the board until you finally meet up with Snoopy. That's pretty much all you're doing this first part, okay? If you land on somebody else's spot, all you do is just move to the next one on top. No one gets kicked back to the Snoopy's doghouse, okay? It's not quite that mean of a game until you get to part 2. Then it gets a little mean, but part 1 If you land on somebody else, you just move one space forward from them, okay? And so on. Till you reach over here. Let's just say we're getting close and everyone's getting really close, and finally, let's just say we go like this, okay? We're going to make our way around, and Lucy makes it to the back door, okay? This is when part 2 comes into play. All right. Lucy finds him. Lucy goes in and takes this off, and now Lucy is with Snoopy. You can see here, she's got Anne with Woodstock. So you can see they're both together there in this one. So this piece actually turns into that piece. Until someone else, say Linus, lands on the same space as this one. Say this person's trying to go this way, and Linus lands on the same spot. Then guess what? Linus takes over. This would go back to Lucy, okay? And then Linus would have Snoopy, and then you go like something like this. Now, I need to get other stands here. That way you don't have to keep switching them out, because these are going to get really tore up. But anyway, see, then Linus takes over. So when you land on the same spot, then that person takes over with Snoopy. Okay, that's how that works. Now, in part 2, once you save Snoopy, obviously this Snoopy goes off the board, because now Snoopy is with the character. Okay? You no longer have to follow the arrows. The arrows are out. So you can go either way. As long as you don't say, I'm going to go 5, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't go 2 different directions on one roll. You do have to go one direction for that roll. So like I just said, if I rolled a 5, I have to go 5 spaces either this way or 5 spaces back this way. And that's how that works there. So like I said, you do not have to follow the arrow rule in the part 2. When part 2 kicks in, let's just say Linus went ahead, since I already have Linus here. Okay. Linus kicked in here and picked up Snoopy. Everyone is dealt 3 of these cards. They're going to shuffle these little cards out, and everyone's going to get 3 of these cards like so. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll say 1, 2, 3 since we have a 3-player game here. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now before you roll your die, actually, I'm sorry, everyone gets 3 except for the person that snagged Snoopy. Or the person that snapped Snoopy would actually get 1 extra card. So let's say this is Linus here. Linus would actually end up with 4 cards instead of just 3. Okay. Now before you roll the die, you can choose to use one of these cards. Let's just say I'm Linus here, and let's say you know what? I can move myself or an opponent to the nearest telephone. So let's just say I want to get out of here because these 2 players are really close to me. So what I can do is I can move to the nearest telephone. And then guess what? I get to use that telephone there, and that is out of the game. Okay. Next player looks and says, okay, let's see what cards I have. I can say, I can give this to Linus. Cat crosses path, lose 1 turn. You can only use this on the person that has Snoopy. So I'll say I use this. That means Linus loses a turn. This is out of the game, and so on. Okay. Now, if someone else ends up catching, let's just say Lucy ended up catching Linus right here. Okay. Then this would obviously go back to Linus. This would have Lucy with Snoopy on it, and then Lucy would be able to grab a card. Okay, that's when you're able to snag a card and add it to her collection there, so she can use that at a later date. So that's how you get more cards, is when you land on the player that has Snoopy. So you can actually use a card first before you roll, and then you roll the dice. So in actuality, you can have 2 turns technically. Now you also have the no dogs allowed sign. So say I want to use this, here it is right here, place on dogs allowed sign. So what happens is you can place this anywhere you want, just about. You are not allowed to add it anywhere around these little dots here around his doghouse and out to here. You are not allowed to put this anywhere in this section. So anywhere where the dotted dots are, you cannot, dotted line, you cannot land anywhere here. But let's just say I place this here. Well, now Lucy with Snoopy, let's just change this out just so it looks legit here, okay? So now Lucy has Snoopy, and Linus goes back to normal here because now he lost Snoopy. Okay. Now Lucy cannot go this direction. This is blocked off. She can no longer go this way. So now she'd have to go this way. Okay. So that's what the no dogs allowed sign happens, is it's kind of like a blockade. You can't go this way now. Now you got to go the other way. Okay, and then hopefully she'll land on a telephone and maybe kind of get out of that way and kind of go this way, because you can go any way you want. The arrows are no longer in play once you go into part 2. Play moves on until you finally want to try to manage to get Snoopy back home. And once you land on this spot here, you win the game. If you are with Snoopy, you make it here. That's the path. There you go. So you pick up Snoopy along the back door, and when you bring him back to his doghouse with this little arrow you win the game. There are other cards here that tell you move yourself or opponent to the train station. So if you do that, here is the train station up here. Obviously, you would go right here. The red arrow shows you. So if I want to move the train station, I would go right there. Same with, I think they have one for each of these. Move yourself or opponent to the library. So obviously you have the library. You can move it to the library. Like library is right here. Actually, the library would be really good. You'd be really pretty close to almost getting back here. You just kind of go boop. So the library would put you right there and so on. Move yourself or opponent to the carnival. So obviously the carnival's right here. You place it right here. And they have a lot of place no dog allowed signs. I think that's pretty much it. Move yourself or opponent to the nearest telephone. That is a very, very good one to have. Move yourself or opponent to the hospital. You got the hospital right here, so you place it right there, and so on. So that's pretty much what you're doing. Part 1, you do not use the cards. You're just trying to get Snoopy. And once someone snags Snoopy, then part 2 kicks into play. The arrows are no longer in play, and everyone is dealt 3 of these cards, except for the person that snags Snoopy. They get a bonus of a 4th card because they were able to pick up Snoopy. And the first player to make it back to his doghouse on this space wins the game. And that, my friends, is Snoopy Come Home. So let's head on over to the game room, and I'll give you my final thoughts. All right, so my final thoughts on Snoopy Come Home. You know, what a great little game. It's really, really cute. I'm definitely going to keep it just for the nostalgia part of it, because I grew up with Peanuts. And Peanuts is a big deal. When I was living in California, I went to Knott's Berry Farm, and their theme right there is Peanuts. I mean, that's all you see. I've got my photo with Snoopy and Woodstock and Peppermint Patty and Lucy and Charlie Brown and Linus, Sally. I've had pictures of them all. In fact, if I can find them, I'll try to put them at the end of this video. All the photos I've taken over at Knott's Berry Farm. I'll see if I can find any on my computer and put them at the end of the video, because, I mean, Peanuts are just a special, special thing in my heart. I love the Great Pumpkin, the Thanksgiving, Christmas. I mean, every year back in the day, well, I guess they're still on TV. They show them every year, and I just always try to, now I have them on digital, so now I always make it a thing every year, sometime on, it doesn't have to be Halloween night, but sometime in October, I play the Great Pumpkin. Thanksgiving, I watch the Thanksgiving one, and then Christmas, of course. We got to watch that one as well. So it's very, very special. So not that it's a game I'm going to break out all the time. Let's play Snoopy Come Home. But, I mean, just the nostalgia of it, I think I'm definitely going to keep it. It's complete. It's in great condition. And I'm going to hold on to it just because. And, maybe one of these light nights where, maybe I'll ask my wife, Linda's like, hey, you want to play Snoopy Come Home? I think it'd be kind of a fun little, get-together or something, just to, maybe if another friend or two came over, they don't play games, maybe I can kind of break them in that way to play a little Snoopy. All it really is a roll and move, and you can use your cards in part 2, and, it's be fun. So I'll definitely give it a thumbs up, just for of course, for the nostalgia part of it. And I think they did a decent time. I'm trying to make a game out of it, and trying to bring Snoopy back home, and the thought process of, okay, let's, Lila owns Snoopy beforehand. She's in the hospital. She takes him home. He finds out there's a cat. Oh, get me home. I mean, that's a pretty cool little concept. I'll accept that. So, well, anyway, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed Snoopy Come Home. And as always, I appreciate your support, and happy gaming.